Hello, my name is Jitters, and today I'll be explaining the wallbang mechanics in Valorant. I'll be using a combination of information from multiple sources as well as my own testing to back up the information in this video. I'll leave a link to all the sources I used in the description. Before I explain how wallbanging works, I first need to explain what it is. Wallbanging is when you shoot through a piece of geometry to hit an enemy on the other side. As long as a bullet travels through a wall or object, it's considered a wallbang. When you try to wallbang an enemy, you'll deal reduced damage. This damage reduction varies, but it depends on three main factors: what gun you're using, the type of material you shoot through, and the distance the bullet had to travel through that material. You can tell that your bullet is going through a wall by the black bullet hole mark left on the wall when you try to shoot through it. If the piece of geometry is not wallbangable, this mark will not appear. Along with the bullet's entry hole, there also needs to be an exit hole in order for the bullet to have successfully traveled through the wall. Even the smallest thing can affect your ability to wallbang in Valorant. For example, this box on Untitled and Haven can be wallbanged because it's made of glass, but there's a metal bar that runs diagonally through it. Because of this, if you happen to shoot along this metal part of the box, you won't be able to wallbang through it. In terms of types of guns, for the purposes of this video, we're going to talk about three different categories: low penetration, medium penetration, and high penetration weapons. The higher a gun's penetration, the more damage that weapon can do through walls, and the further the weapon's bullets can travel through those walls. The low penetration guns are the Bucky, Classic, Shorty, Frenzy, and Stinger. The medium penetration guns are the Spectre, Bulldog, Ghost, Guardian, Phantom, Vandal, Marshall, and Judge. And finally, the high penetration weapons are the Ares, Odin, Operator, and Sheriff. The materials in this game also have similar classifications of very low, low, medium, high, and very high resistance. I have not been able to find if Riot has released any information about which materials are classified under each category, so I guess we'll have to just make educated guesses for now. Based on my testing, I'm assuming that wood and glass are the very low and low resistance material, stone is medium resistance, and different types of metals would be classified as high and very high resistance materials. I found many sources that state that bullets can travel 500 centimeters through very low resistance materials, 400 centimeters through low resistance materials, 300 centimeters through medium resistance materials, 100 centimeters through high resistance materials, and 50 centimeters through very high resistance materials. I'm not sure if these numbers are testable, so I'm just gonna have to believe them for now. These numbers will also vary depending on the penetration level of the gun you're using. For example, low penetration guns can shoot through pretty much all wallbangable materials, but they can only shoot through a certain thickness of that material. So where a weapon like the Odin might be able to shoot through the full 500 centimeters of a very low resistance material, the Classic might only be able to shoot through 200 centimeters of that material. The last thing that affects how much damage you deal with a wallbang shot is how much distance a bullet has traveled through one of these materials. This can be affected by a couple of things. Either the object can be thicker, so wallbanging through a wooden box would deal less damage than wallbanging through a wooden wall, or if the angle you shoot through the object causes your bullet to travel through less material. Here, when I get shot through the box with the Vandal, I only take 17 damage, but when they shoot through the corner of the box, I take 30 damage. With all that being said, I am now going to test different wallbang spots on different maps and testing the damage across three different guns. One for low penetration, one for medium penetration, and one for high penetration. For the low penetration gun, I'll be getting shot by a Classic. For medium penetration, I'll be getting shot by a Vandal. And finally, for high penetration, I'll be getting shot by an Operator. Before we start with our testing, I'll be using the damage numbers for body shots for all the weapons as a baseline. That's 26 damage for the Classic, 40 damage for the Vandal, and 150 damage for the Operator. Now that we've established that, I'll start by testing wallbangs on this wooden box. If you try to shoot through the entire box with the Classic, you won't be able to wallbang through it. If you use the Vandal, you'll deal about 17 or 18 damage per bullet. And with the Operator, you'll deal 94 damage per shot. For the low, medium, and high penetration weapons, this equates to a 100% decrease, 55% decrease, and about a 35% decrease in damage respectively. When shooting through the box on an angle, your bullet will deal more damage since the bullet travels through less material. Again, these damage numbers will depend on the angle you shoot the box at, but I'll try to stay as consistent as I can for this video. For the Classic, you're able to wallbang dealing about 11 or 12 damage per bullet, which is a decrease in damage of about 55%. The Vandal was dealing 30 damage per bullet, which is a 25% damage decrease. And finally, the Operator was dealing 141 damage per bullet, which is only a 6% decrease in damage. The next material we're going to test the damage for is the glass box on Haven. Just like the wooden box, the Classic was unable to penetrate through the glass. The Vandal dealt about 17 or 18 damage through the box, which is about a 57.5% damage decrease. And the Operator dealt 94 damage per bullet, which is about a 37% damage decrease per shot. When shot at an angle, the Classic was able to shoot through the box, dealing about 14 or 15 damage per bullet, or about a 45% decrease in damage. The Vandal was dealing 30 damage per shot, which is equivalent to a 25% decrease in damage. Finally, the Operator dealt 146 damage, which equates to a 6% decrease in damage. These numbers are about the same as the wooden box. The only numbers that varied were when you shot through the box at an angle, which can be attributed to slight differences in the angle that the boxes were shot through. The next material we're going to test the damage for is the Stonewall and Haven. Just like the other two materials, the Classic was unable to penetrate through the wall. The Vandal dealt about 19 or 20 damage through the wall, which is about a 50% damage decrease. And the Operator dealt 100 damage per bullet, which is about a 33% damage decrease. Here's a wallbang spot that's sometimes used on Haven from B main into garage, where the stone wall is a little bit thicker than the window. The Vandal was dealing about 15 or 16 damage per bullet, or about a 60% decrease in damage. Finally, the Operator dealt 78 damage, which equates to a 48% decrease in damage. The final material we're going to test the damage for is this metal on Icebox. This metal is actually thin enough for the Classic to shoot through, even though the material has a higher penetration resistance than something like the wooden boxes. Through this metal wall, the Classic was able to deal about 9 or 10 damage when shot straight on. The Vandal dealt about 23 damage when shot through the metal, which is about a 42.5% damage decrease. And the Operator dealt 119 damage per bullet, which is about a 20% damage decrease per bullet. I also tested the damage if shot through the metal at an angle so that the bullets travel through more of the material. At this angle, the Classic was unable to penetrate through the metal. The Vandal was dealing about 11 or 12 damage per bullet, or about a 70% decrease in damage. Finally, the Operator dealt 67 damage, which equates to a 55% decrease in damage. This means that when shot through at an angle, the metal caused the bullets to lose the most damage out of any other material, as was expected. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video or learned something new, please leave a like and subscribe for more Valorant related content.